What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's KRFF 95.9, Radio Free Fargo.org. You're streaming wherever you at. You can listen to this. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what we're strapping into right now. You just listen to the replacements. Go. It's an exciting day here at Canna-Talk ND with Wilson in North Dakota for cannabis measures, cannabis progress, exciting cannabis news, and we're going to talk about it because that's what we talk about. Cannabis news, the benefits of cannabis, and measures regarding said cannabis progress. North Dakota's got one on the measure, or is going to got a measure on the ballot. It's Measure 1, Uno. And we've moved up. 4 years ago, it was Measure 3. Now we're number 1. And that makes sense. Right before me, side stage with Trab, 1 to 3. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, 4 to 5. We got Stinky Arts Music Mart right after me. We got some open spots. I always say, if that's you, well, you can come in. You could do a couple hours yourself. If you're good with music, you got a velvety, buttery tone like your boy Wilson. Huh? Maybe Thursday's the place for you. Black Ring Ritual wraps up this Thursday. Like every Thursday. Again, it's kind of cool here in Fargo, Moorhead, but it's all right. I'm digging it. I got my long sleeve shirt on. It's blue. It's my power color, so I'm looking pretty good today. But you can't see me. Just trust me, though. I'm looking good because, again, new approach, North Dakota. The signatures have been approved by our boy Alvin Yeager. And so this November, I can assure you, that we're going to be able to vote. Now, the hard work comes because we got to get enough people to vote. And that might not be hard, but we still got to do the work. So I've got some, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it at 420, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and it's going to be focused around me setting the stage and, being the spokesperson to kind of fire us up so we can make sure that it's on the ballot. Well, no, I take it back. It's going to be on the ballot, but we'll make sure that it passes. And I'm fired up. Other people are fired up. And maybe some of you are firing it up. But that's neither here nor there. I'm here to change the law, not break the law. So I'm assuming you all's got a medical card. But come November, we're going to get to vote on whether, we don't have to go through all that red tape. Because that's my contention. My contention is medical is, I believe cannabis has just a wide, vast array of benefits. And it can be used for all kinds of different things. You don't have to have a brain injury, which it works great. You don't have to have night terrors because you're out there keeping us safe overseas fighting. And as a result, your PTSD requires a little something extra heavier. Those people need it, and they should have it. But they get hemmed up sometimes. So recreational is just a way to get everybody the medical benefits that cannabis provides. And so I'm all for it. I believe cannabis was created by God himself, our creator, who I give him props and I serve him. Actually, I'm a crazy Pentecostal. So there you have it, and I worship him every Sunday. Antioch Church, 11 a.m. is worship. I'm on the skins. I got stick duty, and the songs aren't easy. So maybe skip this Sunday. Just kidding. But anyway, cannabis legalization, I'm all for it. And I'll be championing it, and we'll be talking about it at 420. I can assure you. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, blackcottagealchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Or if you're feeling a little adventurous, get on your e-bike, maybe a sail, put a sail on your hat. Come on downtown to Toshi Products, and everything inside that I talk about is available. It's made with kosher, full spectrum CBD, 1,600 megs of the CBD, mango butter, a bunch of butters. I hate saying all the butters. I don't know why. Beeswax, coconut oil, colloidal silver, turmeric, arnica, comfrey, myrrh, frankincense, sage, and rosemary. And so that's something that you could probably use. And support my sponsor, who's supporting me. Shout out to Black Cottage Alchemy. And shout out to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday on KRFF 95.9. Shout out to New Approach North Dakota. And shout out to Secretary of State Al for approving and validating the signatures. Now, I will say a little teaser. They had plenty extra, all right, to cover the case that, some of those signatures get thrown out. I was told there was a validation process that I know Measure 3 and even, when Lisa and I were doing it here in Fargo with North Dakota Cannabis Caucus, we weren't running it through any vigorous process. And these guys were, and they still threw out 2,000 signatures. So just wrap your brain around that. Even at your most diligent, even at, working every signature past, say, a signature looker-at-her guy, 2,000 still got blown out. Well, thankfully, they had 10,000 or so, and I'm just riffing extra above the 15 that they needed. So it's beautiful news, but just think about that, though. Even people-driven initiatives, if they don't have, if they're not legit, if they're not pursuing it with, dare I say, the money to do so, because I know everybody that's grassroots hates money, but it ensured success, and it was. At the cost of what? I don't know. I'm just looking forward to growing them 3 plants in my stinking full-blown closet that used to have a double bed, used to be a bedroom. I raised my daughter to be a beautiful teacher as she begins her 5th year stinking teaching. No longer is used. So it's 13-foot ceilings, no windows. Is just begging me. I mean, I think I even heard my closet say yesterday, "Hey, Wilson, when are we going to, put 3 plants in me?" I'm like, well, calm down, closet. We got to wait. But it's getting closer and closer. So that's exciting, and we'll talk about it at 4:20 for sure. We're going to get into some music here really quick. This is brand new by the Harlem Gospel Travelers. This is Hold Your Head Up on 95.9. Hold your head up, everybody. The Harlem Gospel Travelers. That's brand new. And that's a little positivity hit for you on KRFF 95.9. RadioFreeFargo.org. It's streaming wherever you are. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. We talk about cannabis. That's the Canna in Canna-Talk. And at 4:20, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. I'm going to talk a little more about the beauty of New Approach North Dakota now having a Measure 1 for legalization in November. We're going to vote on it. And again, I always revert back to, this is 4 years later, 2018, Measure 3. It came, it's like 49%. Cass County, which is the biggest county, we did get over 51%. So it's going to be interesting to see where we are. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy at all. I think vigilance is what's going to be required. We're going to have to get loud and proud, as they say, and do what we can to convince the people that wouldn't vote to vote. And apparently, according to a fan email, you youngsters are lazy. You talk a big game, but you don't get up in the morning and go vote. So we're going to need you to vote this time. This time we need you to vote. We'll talk about those stats. We'll talk about how you can vote. And we'll cover all that stuff. I got a little something about South Dakota to talk about, too. We got plenty of news. But if I do it right, I'll be able to discuss the upcoming beauty of Measure 1. That is our brand new legalization measure that'll be on the ballot this November. So our fall just got a whole lot cooler, feel me? But before we go any further, let me tell you the programming on 95.9 FM, KRFF. Radio Free Fargo is being underwritten by Orange Records. Orange Records offers a variety of new and used music on vinyl and CD, as well as a large selection of posters, DVDs, and much more. Orange Records buys used vinyl, CDs, and cassettes. Orange Records is located at 641 First Avenue North in downtown Fargo. They are open noon to 6:30. Let me start over. They are open 11 to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday and are closed on Sundays. Search Orange Records Fargo on Facebook for updates on new arrivals and special events. And dare I say, their incense variety is pretty delectable. I recommend the happy hour. It's the green tip stick. And tell them Wilson sent you. Or don't. I don't care. Who cares? I'm here to talk about cannabis and cannabis legalization. I'm going to talk about a local benefit for KRFF 95.9 Radio Free Fargo. It's at the Fishbowl, a.k.a. the Aquarium, a.k.a. above Dempsey's, a.k.a. across the street from a hotel. The only hotel that's the tallest building in our stinking town. If you get there and do an about face like a little soldier, you'll be looking at the front door of the place that's having the benefit. Saturday, 8:20, 9:30 p.m. We got Devil Girl Minneapple. Jameen. Know Jameen? Know what I'm saying? Jameen, Minneapolis. Lauren Leslie, also from the beautiful cities to the east of us. 21 plus, $10 donation, radiofreefargo.org. Again, it is a benefit for us, so come out, do your thing. And again, if you don't like music, we like money. And if you're loaded, just go upstairs and drop some money in a basket and buy some merch if you'd like. You know what I'm saying? Do what you do. Here on Radio Free Fargo, it's Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We're getting closer and closer to 420. And so it's exciting. Again, cannabis is going to get to be voted on in November in the state of North Dakota. You're going to be able to have an ounce. You're going to be able to grow 3 ounces. I'm an idiot. You can grow 3 plants. And that's exciting because, again, it allows the spectrum. If you want to grow high THC and get your fry on, do it. If you like the one-on-one, grow a CBD plant with a couple regular and blend it. If you don't even know how to grow, you're thinking maybe I do. Well, now you can give it a shot without the fear of, repercussion and consequence. And that's a beautiful thing. I spell that freedom. You know what I mean? So let me get you into some tunes here, and I'm almost too excited. I'm going to talk my way through this musical break, but it's how I do it. So at 420, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and the news today is going to be North Dakota Measure 1 recreational upcoming. It's exciting. Let's just give Measure 1 legalizing recreational and up to 3 plants a stinking hand. Fantastic. All right, here's Get a Grip. Carmine Appice and Tony Franklin. Shuggy Otis, My Dog, 2018. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Now that you've been successfully throat punched, that was Get a Grip. Shuggy Otis. I was just thinking if I had another kid, I would name him Shuggy Boogie Wilson. What do you guys think, huh? It's a beautiful name. I'm not so sure if the female counterpart would agree with Shuggy Boogie, but come on, SB Wilson, that sounds like a presidential name if you ask me. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. 420, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and I can assure you that is happening as we speak. That music queued up means boom. On the other side, good stuff. So if you've got a medical card, scurry to the freezer, get you one of those frozen cubes, stick it in your cylinder, get you a combustible tool, gurgle, gurgle. We'll do Canna-Talk ND on the other side of this, 95.9.
Hey, it's Phil from Cannaheads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
All right, let's go ahead and just get started, huh? Welcome, each and every one of you human beings. Maybe a couple dogs. Any parrots listening to me? Huh? Any kitty cats got their headphones strapped into Canna-Talk ND with Wilson? But boy, it's 420-ish. We're going to talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis. However, we're going to discuss Measure 1 probably as much as I possibly can, because now we're heading into the voting season of November, and we have some skin in the game. And by we, I mean cannabis, pro-cannabis people that want cannabis legalized in the state of North Dakota, that want the freedom to use it as they see fit, who aren't afraid of this horrible thing that grows out of the ground. A plant. Apparently, it's a horrible thing and it's evil. I would argue that the people making money from other things in competition with this beautiful, healthy alternative have paid many, many monies for many, many years to convince you that cannabis is of the devil. It's the lettuce. And again, I mean, devil's lettuce. I mean, lettuce is still illegal. You know what I mean? I can go buy lettuce. And where did lettuce come from? I mean, the devil? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it's just a figure of speech. It's the Lord's lettuce. You know what I'm saying? So let's grow it like cabbage. That's what I'm saying. At least 3 plants, which is what's going to be allowed if we pass it in November. I think it's November 26th. New approach in North Dakota has, with the help of us and everybody signing the petition, now has a chance in the state of North Dakota once again to vote on it in November. It's exciting, up to an ounce. But the caveat for me is the 3 plants. To me, that's just where it's at. I mean, without those 3 plants, I don't know. I think medical should be expanded, but you add the 3 plants and then you take away, some people don't have, what's the word? The conditions. They don't have the conditions in the list, but they can still benefit from cannabis medicinally, because I would say that no matter what you're doing, if you're at the park just getting ripped, smack a volleyball around, you're doing medical stuff to your body. You're increasing range of motion. You're decreasing inflammation. Your homeostasis is in groove. You know what I'm saying? Let's just vote it in. Let's just vote it in. Measure 1. We're going to be able to have up to an ounce, 3 plants, and we've got, like this fan email. We've got 12 Canna-Talk ND with Wilsons to get this thing pushed through and successfully talked up so we can vote and do the right thing. I just want to mention a few things, kind of like in review. A lot of you people probably know it, but in North Dakota, even felons can vote. Which, because I'm a felon. I'm a good-looking felon. People look at me and go, hey, that guy's a felon? Nah, I'm afraid so. And you're wondering, well, why? Did you beat up some minors? Or, did you put a kid in the trunk? No, I was just addicted to meth. Thought I could go to New Orleans for the Mardi Gras and try to do it with a car without windshield wipers in the middle of the swampy bottoms of Missouri. I just couldn't see. So a cop noticed me struggling, thought he'd help me out. And what's this? Bindles, sir? And boom. That was all she wrote. All you needed was one bindle to get you a felony in Missouri. However, I can vote. And you can vote. Even if your felony's ugly and you don't want to talk about it. You can vote. Even if you got more than one. You can vote. So, don't let being a felon stop you. And in fact, a felon should be motivated to get back at the system that made him one, right? And do your part and go vote on Measure 1. Let's get this thing legalized. 18 and over. And that means 18. If you turn 18, you can vote. U.S. citizen can vote. You lived in North Dakota for 30 days, you can vote. You have a North Dakota driver's license or state ID, you can vote. So make sure you can vote. You can vote the day of the election, a week early in Fargo if you're from the F-town, or vote by mail. Now, here are the stats, which are kind of interesting. And I'm just going to kind of educate you a little. All right. Boomers, which is kind of I don't know if I love that word. You know what I mean? I know it means baby boomers, but it's kind of like calling them Karens, to be honest. It feels derogatory, and I'm not a boomer, but I probably will be. I'm 47. I think I'm a Gen Xer. But boomers and older, we'll just say old dudes and older dudes, only make up 27% of the population that can vote. Gen Zs, millennials, and Gen Xs make over 60% of the population. That's pretty intense. There are more millennials than any other age group in North Dakota, and 76% support legalization. 85% of Gen Z supports it. 65% of Gen X supports it, which is me. Now, less than 50% of the older dudes support legalization, and only 20% of the even older dudes support it. Now, what happens is the older people are voting they're voting 2-1. Which is kind of interesting because young cats could run to the voting booth, very agile, very, very youthful. The older people, they got to get they got to shine up their walker. They got to get on their, strap on their Depends. Maybe call somebody to come help them. And then walk them in to vote. But yet they will do that. So for the ones that can easily vote, according to statistics, don't vote. So this time around, y'all, young people, you hearing me? If we want this thing to happen, we've got to get out of our video game chair and go vote. Now you're saying, well, you're being kind of rough. Well, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a part of this whole thing. But again, I care about it. So if you guys ain't voting, then I'm trying to get you to vote. Because I want more than 50% yays on Measure 1 come November. I want the freedom for all of us to decide whether or not they want to use cannabis for whatever reason they choose. And we'll talk about the Indian reservation in South Dakota, who's banned alcohol and only allows cannabis. And I'll follow that. I'm gonna show how that works. I'm gonna give you statistics probably in a year or two, and compare that with other reservations and see if we ain't got a cooler reservation in South Dakota because they banned alcohol and thumbs up cannabis. Financially, healthily, mentally, I believe there'll be a benefit. And so we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I just wanted to make sure we all knew that in November, we've got Measure 1. We can vote on cannabis legalization, recreational up to an ounce. We can have 3 beautiful plants. However, my first harvest, they probably won't be beautiful. They'll probably just be called 3 plants Ufta. That'll be the strain. I'll call it my Ufta strain, and I'll try again. But you're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here, 4:20, I open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and I just broke down the importance of voting if you're a North Dakota resident. If you're a felon, that's cool. Get in there and vote. If you're 18 and over, you can do it. If you've been here more than 30 days, you can vote. So vote. Because statistics aren't for you youngsters. They think you're not going to vote. So let's show them different, right? Let's show them different. Let's get in there and vote. And we've got the percentages to win. And like I just said, if we let all the old dudes and the older dudes do it, chances aren't as good. However, my dad, who's going to be an Ecuadorian missionary with my mother, December 16th, they're moving. I seen his shell crack. When he watched me have a crazy panic attack in Mexico. And the only thing I had was a CBD pen. Because that was the only thing I felt comfortable smuggling across the border, feel me? But it worked. I was a mess. He watched me not be a mess and then go in and finish this hellacious dental work that I took upon myself in Mexico. And so even he, especially as I make a journey, because I was a big, stupid, super, sinner as far as he was concerned. And then I made the change to be, a God-fearing person. Yet maintain the cannabis helped me be a better person and just be better, have a better life while I did what he condones, because he's a super Christian. You know what I mean? And so he was able to see. He has a life experience as an old dude with his son, who, instead of going on pharmaceuticals and all the nasties, well, I was on them, but after abusing them all, cannabis showed up. Cannabis and God showed up, and I believe God created cannabis. So it was all the same thing to me. So let's get out there and do our thing and vote. Again, like I said, you're going to be able to grow your own medicine. Medical doesn't allow 3 growing plants. You can't have 3 plants under medical. I'd hope that change. But if you think it's expensive to go to a dispensary medically, just think how much you're going to save with plants. Just think about it. Just think about that. And let's just give Measure 1, legalization measure, coming up in November, a one more little handy hand. All right, well, I'll bring that up again, before we get out the door here. But I don't want to beat it to death. Most of you know. We'll go ahead and read this cannabis moment. 3 days ago, North Dakota voters will decide on cannabis legalization at the ballot this November. State certifies. It's exciting. About a month after activists turned in the signatures, early by the way, he approved the measure on Monday. That was just 3 days ago, or 4 days ago. I ain't good at math. New approach was initially cleared for signature gathering in April. That's how we do it. It ended up turning in 26,048 submissions, nearly double the amount needed. Now, I don't believe Measure 3 got that many above. I mean, it still got validated, and it was still on the ballot, right? But I think the difference here is the 4 years. And so, double the amount, that's progress. But again, we can't get comfortable. We can't get complacent. We got to do our part. So, there was a couple thousand were deemed invalid. See what I'm saying? The state said that activists ultimately came out ahead with 77,786 more good signatures than were required to qualify. The initiative would allow adults 21 and older to purchase and possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis and grow up to 3 plants for personal use. That's awesome. Its provisions largely mirror the House-passed legalization bill that was ultimately rejected by the Senate. Yeager's office has rejected 2 other ballot initiatives on unrelated issues this cycle after determining that many of the signatures those campaigns collected were invalid. But New Approach ND campaign manager David Owen previously said that they were confident they took the necessary precautions to ensure that their measure would be accepted. All right, the legalization proposal will now be designated as Measure 1 on the ballot. So that's exciting. So again, we got to get ready, and let's do our thing. Now let me read you a few things. Regulators would have until October 1st, 2023 to develop rules. The Department of Health and Human Services or a different agency would be responsible. All right. Now you can go, let's see. You can purchase and possess up to 1 ounce, 4 grams of concentrate and flower produced from up to 3 plants grown for personal use as long as that cannabis is stored in the same location that the plant was cultivated. You bet, sir. No problem. I got a shelf in my closet. I'll just put it up there. The department could only license a maximum of 7 cultivation facilities and 18 retailers. I'm not sure what that means, and we'll probably see what that means as we go along. There would be specific child custody protection for parents. Well, yeehaw. Employers could continue to enforce existing drug policy prohibiting marijuana use. They could, but I would assume that they're not. They're not gonna. I mean, I believe and here's the thing, you call me a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that employees started implementing the drug policy so they could pay less on their accident insurance policies, the workman's comp policies. It was able to say to the insurance companies, we're going to ensure nothing happens. So they're like, well, we're going to charge you less. However, I have never seen any particular, now if you're on crack, like there was a guy outside the soup kitchen today with a bucket of copper pipe that he must have been scavenging all night, hopped up on the Speedy Weedy. And now that guy, he was very loud outside Salvation Army this morning. After he ate, and I've got a picture of him, he was sleeping on the ground with his feet in the copper tubing bucket with the copper wrapped around his legs, out. Now that guy is the guy that would run a forklift into a pallet stack. That guy would not, stab some guy in the belly button with the fork handle. Now that guy needs to be drug tested to maintain a workman's comp insurance claims up to date, and current. But now cannabis, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. So I would argue that employers like hiring people, and there's a crazy employee shortage. So I would imagine that they're going to revamp their drug policy and exclude cannabis. They should. They really should. With respect to past criminal records, there won't be a pathway for expungements, but they're going to work on that later. At the end of the day, if you've got a cannabis expungement, or if you have a cannabis criminal record, these days, who cares? Nobody cares. If anything, it just shows you as gangsta player. I want a guy in my circle that's got a cannabis charge. I'm not afraid of that. If I owned a big company, I'm not saying I want them all, because some people who use cannabis are stupid as snot balls. But those same people are stupid without it. Feel me? So if you can weed them out, see what I did there? If you can weed them out with a little pee test, well, I say go for it. Let's get the dummies out of the work system. But it's got nothing to do with cannabis. But it's the only, if I was devil advocate, it'd be the only way to keep idiots off of your employee roster. Because, maybe that idiot's also doing cannabis. And then you don't have to hire the idiot. But if you're born an idiot, you're going to die an idiot. And I don't think, cannabis is going to immediately make you dumber. You know what I mean? It may go hand in hand with your dum-dum, but you a dummy. And I know a lot of smart people that have smartly chosen cannabis instead of, say, Valium and Xanax. Come on. I did Valium a lot. I've drank with Valium. It was awesome. But then as an ADD guy, it made me not care about the next day. I'd wake up, I couldn't find my keys. I didn't know where my car was. My kid's like, we got to get to school. I'm like, well, I can't find the eggs. And I'm exaggerating a bit. But that doesn't happen with cannabis, you know? I mean, and I've heard Xanax is just a beast to kick, you know? I mean, benzos are horrible, you know? And those, you know, are just a prescription away. But anyway, the state's 5% sales tax would apply to cannabis products. No additional tax would be imposed. So I say we got ourselves what's that word? We got ourselves not a free-for-all, but we got ourselves a boxing match. And so, like I said, get out there and vote in November. This is from MaryJane.com. Canada destroyed a record-breaking 425 million grams of legal cannabis. Has destroyed nearly 1,000 tons since 2018 of unsold dried bud. It's unsold, unpackaged. It accounts for 26% of all the legal cannabis that was grown in Canada last year. Is a 50% increase. Health Canada requires all producers to dispose of any products or raw flower that is ineligible for sale. Some of this weed is destroyed because it tested positive for mold. We'll get that out of here. Or otherwise failed to pass quality control. We'll get that out of here. Some healthy plants also end up getting trashed because they didn't turn out to be as high quality as the cultivators hoped, which I would have been more than happy to take off your hands. Now, South Dakota reservations bans alcohol. Let's give them a hand. God bless them. This is from High Times. Residents of the South Dakota res that voted to legalize cannabis and keep alcohol blacklisted are happy with the decision a few years in. You bet they are. One South Dakota reservation, the Pine Ridge, allows legal cannabis, though they still ban alcohol from within the reservation borders. In 2020, the Oglala Sioux tribe overwhelmingly voted to legalize rec and med. The site has banned alcohol for the last 100 years, and they aren't planning to change that anytime soon. That gives me goosebumps. That's awesome. Cannabis was legalized in 2020, but some of the structure was delayed thanks to the pandemic. Folks who live on the South Dakota reservation claim that they see cannabis as a safe and a natural alternative to alcohol and a tool for managing things like mental health issues and chronic illnesses. See, them Indians, they got it figured out. They still see alcohol as something that can impact not only health and safety, but also life expectancy. And alcohol's horrible, and it's legal. So, I mean, I don't understand how I can't argue successfully with somebody of the glaring hypocrisy. So anyway, if you're pro-cannabis and you're going to vote Measure 1 for legalizing recreational here in North Dakota in November, then get to talking to your family members. All right? Do your thing. Let's get this thing going. All right? Okay. Cannabis is a natural plant that comes from the earth, and our people lived off the land. They got their medicine from the land. Our indigenous people, they suffer a lot from diabetes and cancer and other illnesses, but the cannabis really helps them. Shoppers at the store also shared that they feel alcohol, meth, opioids, and other illegal drugs are more dangerous than cannabis, and that cannabis is different and better for their community. Well, these Pine Ridge guys got it figured out. Now, throughout the history of South Dakota reservations, alcohol has been illegal almost the entire time, but bootlegging is still common and alcohol abuse is still an issue. It's killing our youth. It's killing our future generation. So, now, check this out. The Oglala Sioux tribe filed a 2012 lawsuit alleging that about 25% of children born on the reservation had health or behavioral problems caused by exposure to alcohol in the womb. They sued beer stores across the border in Nebraska that they claimed were taking advantage of folks with alcohol problems who lived on the reservation. So, there you go. Now, D.C. residents aged 21 plus can now access medical cannabis immediately after self-certifying. We're going to keep cruising because I spent a lot of time on our state that we know and love. Again, new approach North Dakota. Measure 1, November. Let's vote yes for cannabis. Now, this is interesting. NYPD seizes vehicles over illegal cannabis sales in Times Square. They seized 19 vehicles after complaints that the owners were selling cannabis without a permit in Times Square. So Chief Jeffrey says up in smoke, 19 vehicles and cannabis seized off the streets of New NYC. While others follow the rules, these trucks and their vendors don't have permits, so we took action. So, anyway, most of the vehicles had out-of-state plates and the drivers slept in them overnight. So, I don't know what that means, but these are some sweet-looking vehicles. You should, this is from Ganjapreneur, you should go and check it out. Now, this is from Forbes. how Kentucky lost its war against Delta-8 THC. At around 11 a.m. on October 13th, Mike Kimsey was running a smoke shop when they walked in with a search warrant. It felt like they were raiding a kingpin drug dealer, and they expected they would find at least 10 pounds. It was a deplorable situation, and here it was just Delta-8. So let's talk about this. Rest in peace, Olivia Newton-John. She died last Monday, not this Monday, the other Monday. And that's just horrible. But I didn't realize that she was one of the world's most outspoken medical cannabis activists. So we're going to give her a little shine here. Again, rest in peace. My condolences to the family. Now, she died on Monday in her Southern California home. Her legacy will surely live on, and nowhere more so than on her daughter's Oregon cannabis farm. As many of her fans are aware, the star of Grease was a passionate advocate for medical cannabis. She had battled breast cancer since '92, which likely led to her death. Daughter Chloe is a singer. That's not important. We leverage the powers of microbes, Amazonian botanicals, and gemstones to maximize our plant's fullest expression. They do bioharmonic pre-rolls, tea leaf blunts, and cannabis flowers, and that sounds awesome. So Newton-John was vocal about the impact the cannabis had on her own symptoms. Though she initially began consuming the plant for a sacrum injury, she credits the plant for getting her off the addictive opioids. You hearing me? Getting her off the addictive opioids that she had initially been taking for the intense pain that she'd been prescribed to by her doctor. Okay, it really is a magical miracle plant, said Olivia Newton-John. I have seen the incredible beauty of the plants and their healing abilities. If I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about kinder therapies. Your body wants to heal itself. So that brings me to High Times Magazine. People with first-hand experience more likely to perceive cannabis positively. The latest Gallup polling data indicates that 70% of Americans who have tried cannabis thinks its effects on users are positive. And I think that's the bottom line here. Now, I don't know how to get everybody to just, what do they say, have a Coke and a smile. But it really changes what you think, because it just, I don't know even what you think, but I think you compare it to alcohol and stuff. And since you don't have it, say, you haven't tried it and you don't have a family member you can look at and watch how they act, well, your ignorance prevails. And I don't know how to correct the ignorance unless you just don't knock it till you try it. A large majority, or 70% of Americans, think cannabis effects are very or somewhat positive. 66% thinks effect on society is very or somewhat positive. So, in other words, one might assume that some people dislike cannabis until they try it for themselves, or see the miraculous healing of the plant firsthand with their own two eyes. Now, Americans are split down the middle over cannabis effect, with 49 considering it positive and 50 considering it negative. And that's going to change. That really is. Now, let me rock through this last thing here. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson on Radio Free Fargo, KRWF 95.9. And we've had an exciting time, haven't we? This is Cannabis Moment. South Dakota governor's push to block voter-approved cannabis legalization slammed a campaign ad. So, a top South Dakota lawmaker and a Democratic gubernatorial candidate is taking Christie to task over her opposition to cannabis legalization. And so he says, Jamie Smith of South Dakota for governor. He says the people of South Dakota voted for cannabis, and the vote was not only ignored but impeded by Governor Noem at every turn. As your governor, I will fight for the will of South Dakotans to legalize cannabis. Jamie Smith also says 172,000 South Dakotans voted for Christie. 225,000 South Dakotans voted yes on cannabis. South Dakota's constitution says under God the people rule. It doesn't say under God the people rules unless Christie Noem don't like it. So there. Now, I'll be watching South Dakota. They've got a legalization measure on as well. I just wanted to say this really quick. You'll want to Google this yourself. This is from High Times. DoorDash driver delivers side of cannabis gets canned. One DoorDash customer received more than he bargained for when he placed an order of food, finding an unwanted bag of cannabis in his order. Decided to complain about it I don't like this guy. I don't like him at all. Columbus, Ohio man who wishes to remain anonymous, of course, because if I knew, I'd drive to Ohio and slap you around with my fist. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so casual, it ain't happening. But anyway, what I just want to point out here, he says he ordered food through DoorDash and complained that the bag of cannabis made him feel scared. And he goes on to say stuff about, the kids, right? He pushes the kids. This is horrible propaganda. I can't even believe High Times pushed it. I mean, it's interesting for news, but I'm not going to read any more of it. But anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. I'll be in here next Thursday. You know I'll be hammering Measure 1. So again, if you're a youngster, go against the statistics. Statistics say you're not going to vote. I say you will because it matters. You know, at the very least, one of you youngsters has got a grandma that could benefit from cannabis. But the only thing keeping her from utilizing it is money for a medical card and maybe some stigma around its illegality at the current time. So if you love your old grandma, go vote on Measure 1, would you? Programming on KRFF 95.9 has been underwritten by Art Riot Promotions. Art Riot will design and print any business or personalized custom decal in a variety of shapes and sizes. Art Riot creates custom engraved gifts and promotional items. Art Riot offers flexi online or in-person consultations. Local in-store pickup or shipping is available for any order. Visit them at 819 Main Avenue in Moorhead. Art Riot is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You can find them online at Art Riot Promotions and also on Facebook and Instagram. Well, I think it's time to play my last song of the day, and then I'll do my toodaloos, and I'm out of here. Here's Reelin' in the Years, the Fearless Flyers. Brand new, Reelin' in the Years, like only the Fearless Flyers can do. Brand new here on 95.9 KRFF, RadioFreeFargo.org, streaming wherever you are. I can tell you, my nose is twitching. It's so stinky in here, which means Stinky Arts Music Mart is on deck. And I can assure you, the Celia that is just burnt out of my nose hole, that he is, in fact, in the building. He's extra stinky, so get ready for that. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. You can come downtown into Tochi Products. Get their body butter. I'm telling you, it's worth the purchase. And you support them for supporting me. Again, Measure 1, legalization, recreational, is on the ballot, folks, in North Dakota. Up to 3 plants, up to an ounce. It's exciting. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your dog too. It's exciting. And so let's get her done. Let's get it done. It's been 4 years since we've had something on the ballot, and I'm excited. I'm going to get out here early so Stinky Art can bring his stinky self in here. I'm going to jump out of here, but I'll be back next Thursday, and you can be assured that Measure 1 will be on my talk box. So again, educate yourself on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on the benefits so they'll vote yes on Measure 1 come November. Until then, David Allen, Judgment Day, peace.